We're going to continue learning about web design by learning about a few fairly important components of HTML. So let's get started by going into our web design folder. We're going to make a new folder inside and call it travel_agency. Inside the travel agency folder, we're going to make a new folder and we're going to make it IMG, and this is short for images. We'll come back to this later. So go ahead and open Sublime Text. Start typing in the general structure of an HTML page. Okay, so let's save this and go to the desktop, go down to the web design folder. Inside the travel agency folder, save this as index.html. And once that's done, let's take a look at it in the browser, make sure everything looks good. And looks good. So close out of that and let's start actually building the website. So first we're going to find some images and put them into the website. So when you're looking for images online, it can be tempting just to kind of Google image search it, which is usually fine, but it ends up giving you things like if you're simply copying a link, it ends up making the code kind of unwieldy, and it also has the added problem of needing to download that particular image every time you open your HTML page. It's greatly going to increase the time it takes to load your page. So if you can simply download your images or have your images native on your desktop or on your folder, that's going to be a lot easier. Usually when HTML programmers are designing web pages, they'll use a website like this. This is called pixabay.com, and this is a public domain stock photo website. These are websites that are free to use, and they're high quality images that you can use all you want on your site. So websites like this are fairly indispensable for web design. So we can go down to travel and vacation, and we can just take a look for some images that maybe suits us. So for example, here's a picture of Parliament in London. So let's click on that. So we have an option of downloading various sizes, anywhere from small to extra large. So in general, it's going to really depend on what you want the page to look like. If we want it to be a very long picture that stretches across the entire screen, we would pick something larger. If we want it to just be something that's going to fit a bit smaller in the page, we pick one of the smaller ones. We can also go through and edit this later. You can always edit pictures using Photoshop. You can edit it by redefining attributes in its HTML IMG tag. But for now, just go ahead and download this 640 by 427 image. So go to download. Then from there, go ahead and in your web design folder, in travel agency, take this picture and put it in there. And let's also rename it to London. That's going to make it a lot easier to access later. And go ahead and find 3 more pictures. It doesn't really matter what they are, but let's just see if we can find a few more that are interesting. Let's see, so there's San Francisco, so let's download one of those. So we'll call this one San Fran, that's fine, San Fran. And then let's try to find one more that's recognizable. I'm sure they probably have something about New York. Let's look for New York. Yeah, perfect. So let's see if we find a good one. That one looks pretty good. Let's do that. Let's download this one. It's small. We'll rename this one New York. Okay, so now we should have everything we need to set up this pretty simple website that's meant to just be advertising a travel agency. Now, to place an image in a website, all you have to do is type this IMG tag. And that stands for image, obviously. So the IMG element has a couple attributes that we're going to be using. One is the SRC attribute, stands for source, and the alt attribute, which stands for alternate. The source is going to, the value of the source is the address of the image that we're trying to use. In this case, let's do London first. So you want to give it the full directory name. You want to give the source the full directory, in which case it's img/London. And the reason we have to get .jpeg, so knowing your file format is really important. If you ever want to know your file format, just right-click, go to Properties, and type a file. It'll show you. Some other commonly used image types are PNGs or GIF files. The reason we had to put this in here is that our index.html page is siblings with this IMG folder. So if we put london.jpg in this same folder, we could simply source the image from london.jpg. But because London is what's called a child of IMG, we have to actually say, go navigate to IMG, then navigate to its child, london.jpg. And you're going to find that you might be asking yourself, well, why don't we just put the images in this folder with everything else? And that's just because you're going to find that when the websites get much bigger and we're working on sophisticated projects, not just something that's meant as an example, that it's going to be really important to keep things organized. Otherwise, it's very easy to lose track of things. Okay, so we should have everything we need. We shouldn't have to mess around too much more with the folders. So the SRC is the address of the image, and the alt is alternative text that's printed on the screen if the image can't be loaded for whatever reason. So just say like Parliament or something. And let's just do the same thing for the other images. So the other ones, we have img sanfran.jpg, call the alt Golden Gate Bridge. Messed something up. What did I mess up? Oh, there we go. Okay. And then one more image. Let's go ahead and make that img/New York.jpg. And we'll give the alt text New York skyline. So let's just see how this looks. Open in browser. Very cool. So it doesn't look too bad. So we have just the images stacked on top of each other. You'll also see that we can actually end up stacking them like this if we want to. So that's if the screen does get wide enough. And you're going to find that we can do things like, we can implement things like adaptive design that will have the images grow or shrink depending on the size of the screen. But for now, we're just doing something very simple. So you can also make images links. So let's say we want to make these links to various websites. So for example, let's see what London's. main website is, like a travel website. Alternatively, let's link to the Wikipedia page. Let's just do that. So let's say we want the picture of London to be a link to Wikipedia. We simply make an anchor tag like we did before, the A tag, and just surround the image with it. Make it more clear. Maybe I'll do something like this. So now when I open this page in the browser, and you'll notice that when I hover over the San Francisco picture, nothing happens, but when I hover over the London picture, you get the cursor changes to indicate that you can click on it, and if we go, we can click on London. So it's very common to use images as links, so that's how you do that. So let's go ahead and just add anchor tags around the other images as well. And let's see what the URL for San Francisco is. Copy that. And the URL for New York City. So now each of the images has a link to their respective Wikipedia pages.